Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to Otaku Chris is Talking. This is your weekly anime review for Youjo Senki, and this is for episode 8. And what can I say? This was a pretty interesting episode. This focused on a lot of themes of what's going on in war and really making us question who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, who make the rules for war, and also Tanya manipulating just the rules that are happening in this whole craziness that seems to be a world war, or the basically it's the equivalent of World War One and Two, basically, but like in Tanya's reincarnated life, and it's pretty messed up because what's kind of nuts is as the episodes were going on from episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 going onwards, it was always kind of fun because you got to see Tanya kind of winning, taking the lead, and from last week's episode was when we finally actually got to see the effect of war and seeing it from another person's perspective. And this episode carries that out once again. But what this did very very well was, instead of showing it from the people who are being opposed or the Republicans' point of view, it actually showed it from a member of Tanya's battalion. Basically, a member of our own battalion. You got to see how they actually felt and what were their opinions on it. Now, as the episode opens up, you see we get introduced to a character called Second Lieutenant Warren Grants, and what was pretty cool was when we get his introduction with his like title and who he is. Tanya says something very interesting. She says, "I doubt anyone is stupid enough to get hit by one of our shells," and literally within minutes of her saying that, you get to see that like he's injured and he's hurt, but like when that happened, like he was still excited. He was ready to go back into war. And if anything, when the episode started, you got to see the members of Tanya's battalion were super pumped for war, and like they were like, "Yeah, let's go in there." They were shooting down people, and like because they were what they thought of war was basically just going to be, alright, they take out other people who have guns and or who are opposing them, like literally that you can physically see. But what this episode kind of showed was that the gritty side of war, the side of war that some people totally forget about, and it's like, okay, we're gonna not only do you take out just your opposing people, like who are actually physically fighting against you, but when Tanya's higher ups were like, okay, what we're gonna have to do is actually take out the people in the city themselves, but to make it seem like it's like a legit like rule of law, what we'll do is we will give the people in the city a heads up to kind of let them know that this is what's going to happen. Now, what I believe is that this may have been the first time that this rule was used, and at the end of this episode you find out that Tanya herself was the person who even wrote the rules. So I can honestly say I personally think this was the first time that these rules that Tanya was saying when she was commanding, well, not when she was commanding, but when she was basically telling the people of the city, this is what's going to happen. You guys have to evacuate, blah, 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 from rule this, asterisk, this and that. It seemed like it was something that was official and that had been like a worldwide kind of something that each of the members of War from the World were aware of. But at the end of this episode, the revelation is that these rules that Tanya was going on, like making it seem like if it was a legit thing, were rules that she made up herself. And even though they seem smart because they were written in a way that would aid her side and would make it a lot harder for the opposing teams. So once again, Tanya shows why she really is a devil of the Rhine and that she is a really messed up person. Now, I'm going back to the character that we saw, Warren Grants. We see him we get quite a good level of characterization, character development for him in this episode, considering that he wasn't really an important person to the series. Technically, he was. He didn't seem important to the storyline itself, but he was important to the story, to the overall story that was going on, to show you how people feel in war and how Tanya, she's just literally sick and twisted and messed up. And I feel like we've been so used to Tanya being a badass, to being just the crazy chick, just taking out people, just shooting down people, that we forget that there are going to be like people who are affected by war who aren't physically actually who don't actually have a gun. Now, just because they were warned to say, oh, by the way, we're going to take out everyone in the city, you have a certain amount of time to get out. Obviously, if this is the first time you've heard of this, you're going to be like, what are these people talking about? We're already in war. We're already, people are already shooting against you. And they were probably stunned and shocked as to what was going on. But now, Tanya, she actually ended up catching on surveillance on the gem things, which I still don't get how the hell that work, but they're major, so they have magic kind of stuff. Like on a video surveillance on the gem thing, one of the Republicans actually shooting one of the hostages. Now, obviously, that shows that shows that they have a reason to attack, and it was just for that. Like literally, Tanya's higher ups were like, okay, because of that, take out everyone. It will just wipe out everyone. And what's messed up is, of course, people are going to be afraid and scared and going to have that form of retaliation or that form of just. I don't know, if you're being fucking gunned down by some people who's not even your city and they're coming along trying to act like if they own this shit, and now suddenly they're telling you that they're going to erase everyone that's in the city, and you're like, where the fuck are we supposed to run to? Obviously, you're going to fight for your ground, but what's messed up is that Tanya and the higher ups gave no fucks. They literally were like, cool, we're going to take out people. Not only is it we're going to take out the people in the city, but they basically. Something that was not mentioned, but we definitely got the hint of, was that children, women, and people who have nothing to do with this war were going to actually end up being murdered as well. And we did see that later on by seeing the bodies of like a few women and some of the late bodies laid down and a few bodies burnt to the crisp, which is pretty fucked. And but before we got to that, Second Lieutenant Warren Grant and one of the other main characters who gets mentioned, who gets shown quite a lot, they end up basically talking to each other, and they're like kind of like, wait, if we're taking out everyone in the city, doesn't that mean? And then the other guy's like, don't say it. But we all knew what they were thinking, was kind of like, fuck, if you're taking out everyone in the city, you're not just taking out the people who are directly opposing you. Does that mean that you're going to be taking out women and children and the elderly and the injured and the sick? And like when Warren ends up confronting Tanya about it after they basically wiped out loads of people, and there's and the Republicans, and the opposing side, they're basically collecting the last few of the Republicans who are alive and who survived the attack, like the women, the children, who literally just want to evacuate. During the midst of this war, Tanya gets a message saying, okay, wipe out the rest of the people. And then Warren's like he ends up noticing the women and children. He's like, Tanya, no, like we can't, please, like consider this or reconsider this thought. And Tanya's like, no, this is a order from the higher ups. I don't know who you think you are, but you need to realize your place. And it basically ends up just hitting him a few times, putting him in his place. And then you can see that he didn't want to do it. He's like, this is too much. At one point he even threw up in the episode, and I was like, oh my god, I really felt for this guy, because I can imagine if you're going into war to protect your side, and then not only are you protecting your side, but now you're just literally shitting on the opposing side beyond. You're basically doing an overkill, taking out the people who are in the war. Fine, going against people who have guns as well is kind of like an eye for an eye, all that kind of stuff. But when you end up fucking having to kill women and children, people who are unarmed, who have nothing to do with this, and who have a right to be affected, yeah, man, I could totally understand why Warren was messed up. And I think, it wasn't shown that he was taken out. I feel like when Warren picked up his gun, it looked like he was going to shoot the Republicans and the children, but I feel like maybe he went and turned to aim at Tanya, or Tanya just straight up shot him, because of the fact that he was second guessing was enough to show that he was weak and not ready for the rest of this war. Now it looks like in the next few episodes, Tanya's just going to be getting evil and more evil, and hey, who knows what the hell she's going to be doing. But you know what? It's these higher ups who are pulling the strings, who are making it just totally fucked up. And I feel like by the end of this, they're meant to be the Germans, and in real life, these guys were the actual bad guys. They were going around massacring so many people around the world. And so it's interesting to see how they're kind of replaying it in this anime series. And I feel like some people totally forgot what the Germans did in the real wars, and it's pretty messed up that like kind of seen it in this form, in this adaptation as well. So yeah, that was that. Let me see a few other notes. Oh yeah, so that was pretty much it. So this episode mostly focused on Warren Grant's Second Lieutenant Warren Grant's and his feelings towards the war, his progression, his development in this episode, and how he actually feels about the war. And I feel like his viewpoint and his way of thinking is how we as the audience felt, especially as once we started figuring out, wait a second, if you're taking out people from the city and so does that mean everyone's going to be killed? Yep, everyone was killed. And when you know everyone's killed, now that you know that this is what's happening, and your next orders are to take out the rest of the people that are alive, it's like how do you feel about that? Tanya even had ended up having no, not Tanya, but one of Tanya's higher ups ended up saying, who would actually volunteer for war? Like who actually enjoys war? It's pretty, it's a pretty messed up kind of thing. Anyways, this is my review on Youjo Senki episode 8. What did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy it? Like, what was your favorite part? What did you think of Warren's opinion to this war? And what's your favorite part of this actual episode? If you enjoyed my review, do give me a thumbs up and subscribe as I do weekly and regular anime, manga, otaku reviews. It'd be pretty cool to see you guys join me on my journey, and it helps me out a lot as I know that you guys are enjoying my content and I want to make more stuff for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this stuff. I'll see you guys soon. Otaku Chris is talking. Peace.